Yep, we're
Or
just
the
waiting on
recording?
Becca to give us the thumbs up and then we can get started.
Okay.
And you're good. You're
Okay.
good.
Okay. I now call to order the 7 October 2020 meeting of the Scottsdale Veterans Advisory Commission. Will the staff liaison please call the roll?
Chair Palmer.
Here.
Vice Chair Polk.
Present.
Commissioner Monroe.
Present.
Commissioner Regal.
Here.
Commissioner Stemple. Joel, you might be muted. Okay. Well, I see Commissioner Stemple. I don't hear him at the moment. Joel, are you there? Joel, are you there? Okay, well, I see him and but I don't hear him for whatever reason. Commissioner Zymek?
Here.
Thank you, and we'll look forward to hearing from Commissioner Stemple when perhaps later in the meeting, but I know he's here and had indicated so earlier.
Maybe he needs to do that *6 again.
Yeah,
We'll move on.
okay.
Next on the agenda, discussion and possible action to approve 2 September 2020 Veterans Advisory Commission meeting notes. Are there any comments or corrections on the minutes? Excuse me.
Chair Palmer, I have a hand raised from Commissioner Zymek.
Okay.
Yes, I see. The one thing I'd like to add that we discussed on the Veterans Day commemoration, we had a pretty good discussion on a possibility of having something at the Thunderbird Veterans Memorial at the airport. And Kelly was going to research that aspect, and that did not make the minutes.
Okay, Commissioner
Okay.
Zymek, thank you. We can, if someone wanted to, they could move the minutes with that correction.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, you have a motion from Commissioner Regal and a second from Commissioner Zymek with to accept the minutes with the correction to note that Thunderbird 2 was mentioned as a potential location for a veterans performance or commemoration this year. So with that, Chair Palmer, I can do a roll call vote if you'd like.
Okay.
Chair Palmer,
Here. Or agree.
Vice Chair Polk,
Approve.
Commissioner Monroe,
I agree.
Commissioner Regal,
Approve.
Commissioner Stemple, Commissioner Zymek,
Approved.
And we're still not hearing from Joel. Is that
Yeah.
right?
for whatever reason, his sound is not working now. So Commissioner Stemple, if you can hear us, if you were dialed in, you might need to hit *6 to unmute your phone. There you are.
Ellie, this is Brian. He's on a computer, he's not on a phone.
Okay. Well, it looks like you might be having microphone problems.
Yeah, next to the microphone, there's a little up arrow. Make sure you click on that and then say "same as system," and that usually fixes it.
Okay. Well, we'll let Commissioner Stemple continue to work on that, and I think that would take us to the next item, Chair Palmer.
Okay, next item is presentation and discussion about programs and outreach for homeless veterans in Scottsdale. And I guess Greg Bestigan, I'm sorry, I hope I pronounced that right, Scottsdale's Human Service Director.
Oh, yes. Chair Palmer, members of the commission, and Thank you so much for inviting me and a couple of other members that are going to be in the presentation this evening. So many changes have occurred in the last, certainly since March, but over about the last 2 years in human services, we've recognized through our point-in-time count, and this is a valley-wide count for numbers of persons experiencing homelessness the night before the count was taken, and in other words, they were in an unsheltered situation. So it didn't count people in cars, didn't count people that were couch surfing somewhere else. It counts only the folks that are unsheltered in and out in the environment. Over the last 3 years, we've seen a steady increase in those numbers from 50 that were identified on January roughly 26th in 2017 up to about the same time in January, end of January 2020, we counted 102 individuals that were unsheltered the night before and were in Scottsdale. Just since then, we've had a team that's, I appointed a new homeless outreach coordinator who's going to talk after me. I appointed him to kind of oversee the homeless outreach efforts for human services and really basically for the city. His name is Mike Lopatch. And so since that January date and count of 102, we have now at about 175 in a database that Mike created just to keep track. And these are folks that we've actually, Mike and his 2 other part-time individuals have actually done in-depth assessments with them on the street and then entered that information into a database. We're making some big strides in now we're going to be part of a database system that the county uses called Homeless Management Information System. And we just finished the contract to begin participating in the use of that system, which will allow us to see really at a glimpse everyone that's come into Scottsdale. If they were in another locale before coming into Scottsdale, we will be able to identify that, and we will also be able to enter the numbers that Jusani from Phoenix Rescue Mission is going to be on the conversation after Mike to talk about specifically homeless veterans and programs that they partner with other agencies on to provide services to veterans experiencing homelessness or about to experience homelessness. So the obvious issue is, I'm sure many of you have seen a rising number of folks on our streets, and this is largely because there are many systems that are not available to them now. Some of the shelters where they could stay, they had to reduce the number of beds by half so that they could be socially distanced. And then you had the whole issue that many of these shelters would not accept an individual unless they had been tested for the COVID-19. And so there's been a much more difficult process for them to even find any kind of shelter, let alone some type of supportive housing. So the great news is that we've been able to, with the funds that came to us from the state, and again, I'm sorry that it came to us in the way that it has with people suffering and even dying, but we've been able to put those funds to work and create some really outstanding programs with agencies that are now assisting Mike and his team and certainly addressing all the issues that our citizens have with persons experiencing homelessness. So I am very happy to come back to you and talk more specifically at a broader level about regional efforts for homelessness and that kind of thing. But for now, I want to just let Mike go ahead, give you a quick rundown of the new programs that we've created over the last several months. And just so you know, the relationship that we have with some of these partners like Jusani from Phoenix Rescue Mission, we've been building for probably more than a year. So it was good that we had laid some groundwork and been talking with folks about their programs before this came to the fore in mid-March for us. So with that, I introduce you to Mike Lopatch, our Homeless Outreach Coordinator for the city. Thank you very much.
Okay, Greg, thank you very much. Chair Palmer, members of the commission, as Greg mentioned, I'll go ahead and just talk a little bit about how we're utilizing some of these funds that Greg mentioned to do outreach in the community, specifically with those experiencing homelessness. And I'll try to be fairly brief because I don't want to, we have Jusani Goodman here with us tonight as well, who's going to talk much more extensively, I think, about how Phoenix Rescue Mission, their history, and how they've, how they're interacting directly in communities. But like Greg mentioned, we have spent a number of years here kind of laying the groundwork even before these funds became available, and that really kind of allowed us, I think, to kind of step right in and find the best partners for the efforts that we wanted to pursue. So the first one that I'll mention is that, and I think Greg set this up rather nicely, in that most of the interaction that we did with people experiencing homelessness prior to myself and the two employees that work with me doing outreach, most of those interactions with people experiencing homelessness took place in our centers. And we really, kind of determined that there were a lot of folks that, were in need that just were not getting navigated to appropriate services. So that was one of the, kind of the reasons that we decided to start doing outreach on our own. And I think that we did a fairly good job, like Greg mentioned, of, kind of putting together a nice collection of data, getting people, especially during the pandemic, getting people hygiene kits and food. We actually got quite a few people enrolled in entitlement programs, getting them their proper documents, Social Security cards, cards that they needed to get IDs, things of that nature to apply for other programs. So we're very happy to have done that. However, like Greg mentioned, we don't have at our disposal the types of resources that really are absolutely impactful for this community. And that includes, like Greg mentioned, the ability to utilize HMIS to get people into the Homeless Management Information System, which is a regional system navigating people towards stability, especially through housing. And that is something that Phoenix Rescue Mission, who we're now contracting with to do our outreach and navigation work in the community, is able to do. And that also opens up a kind of an important point there, is that opens up their ability to be considered for both permanent supportive and rapid rehousing vouchers. And there are more of those vouchers now in the system, also as a byproduct of the CARES Act monies and the COVID monies that are in the system now. So we started our contract with Phoenix Rescue Mission here in August, at the tail end of August. There's been 2 navigators working in the community already. They've been doing a tremendous job. We've gotten most of our human services department, the libraries, the police department, all at this point are aware of them and how to make referrals. I'm going to let Jusani talk, a little bit more specifically about exactly what they're doing. But I can tell you, I know that they've already helped probably 5 to 10 folks navigate to permanent or temporary or permanent housing solutions, which is just fantastic, based on the fact that they've got tremendous connections throughout the community. Then on August 31st, we started a program, I think the first that's probably ever been done in Scottsdale, which is a temporary hotel shelter program. It's conceived to be a 6-month program. It's funded for 6 months. It's coordinated by Community Bridges. Community Bridges is doing a lot of this work throughout the valley right now in Mesa and Phoenix and in Tempe. And what we've done is we're renting essentially the roadway in on Scottsdale Road between Oak and Thomas. If any of you are familiar, it's adjacent to one of Scottsdale's historic landmarks, Zorba's Entertainment. So that's just a reference point. We have essentially 22 rooms there where folks that have been experiencing street homelessness are now residing. and they are getting 3 meals a day. But most importantly, just like I had mentioned earlier, they're going through a series of processes, making sure that they're essentially what they call document ready. They have their birth certificate, they have their correct ID so that they can apply for programs, they can apply for jobs. And then all of them are, again, getting into the HMIS system. They're being assessed for housing vouchers. Like I think 10 to 12 of those folks have also already been assessed and are in the process of receiving housing vouchers. And 2 of those are veterans. So that's, something that we're really excited about. And just as a little bit of context here, CBI has told us that in some of the programs that they're doing throughout the Valley, they're seeing turnover of those rooms in about 30 days. So if that winds up being the case here in Scottsdale as well, then we could well have close to 100 people, which is essentially the amount Greg is indicating to me that was the number of folks that we counted in our last point in time count, which would be fantastic to kind of get to a net zero, with homelessness. Although we know that wouldn't solve the problem completely, of course. But that's just a summary kind of what we're doing with the hotel program, which again started at the end of August. Another program that we're doing that we're really excited about. Oh, okay, yeah, and Greg's indicating we're kind of short on time. Somebody mentioned we've got a vice presidential debate tonight, so I suppose we want to kind of get to those
We'll
things.
come back to you. We've got a couple of other programs that we'll be launching in November, so we're very happy to come back if you'd like, and we'll then talk more about that, because we did want to leave after Giussani does a presentation. If there are questions that you have, we want to make sure we left a little bit of time for that. So with that, we
Greg,
would like...
Greg,
yes.
before we introduce Giussani, I have a hand up from Steve Zimak, Commissioner Zimak.
Okay.
Yeah, just the one question I have, and it sounds like you guys are doing a phenomenal job with the different programs, but we are a Veterans Commission, and in your presentation is the overview, you only mention veterans once, in that there are only 2 veterans that are in the hotel program, is my understanding. That said, do you have any way to really focus more on veterans, or are you just taking, if veterans are in the whole homeless population, they show up on your doorstep, if you will, and they're taken care of?
Yes, and I think Giussani's going to absolutely. That's why we really wanted her. I just thought it would be helpful for you to have a little larger context of kind of the whole homeless kind of what the history is with these individuals. I can tell you that when I've gone out on the point in time count, and this has been for the last 4 years, I can tell you that I have encountered, just in my small group, each time I have encountered, we've done 7 in-depth surveys, which there's a lengthy survey that we provide when we meet them that morning out in the field. And I can tell you that at least with every single year, it was at least 3 veterans that we encountered that have been in Scottsdale for a number of years. And so these are absolutely, and Mike can speak to this, Mike knows who a lot of these folks are. That doesn't mean we're only working with 2. And Mike, why don't you say a little bit more about that?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And I think that also I think that Kelly, we had provided some specific numbers related to the most recent point in time count of how many folks were veterans. But yeah, we absolutely screen for that. We're asking if people have veteran status. We're always looking to refer folks to veterans programs. And now again, because of, and actually for the hotel program, that's another thing that we're looking out for that will kind of increase an individual's opportunity to be participating in that program if they have veteran status. So it's something that we're absolutely cognizant of, and that we want to really make a special effort with the veterans in our community to get them assessed and then pointed towards and navigated towards the programs that would be beneficial for them.
Thank you, Mike and Greg. Before we get to Jasani, I have a hand up from Commissioner Stemple, who I know has been having some audio problems. Joel, are you there? And I also see a phone dialed in, 8334. I wonder, Joel, if that's you dialing in on the phone? Joel, are you there? It sounds like you're unmuted, but I still can't hear you. Okay, well, appreciate the effort of continuing to try, but Greg, I'll let you introduce Jasani.
Okay. It's with great pleasure that I introduce Jasani Goodman. She is a director with the outreach efforts for the Phoenix Rescue Mission. And we toured the program that they run. There's a program that they run called Glendale Will Work, and we're going to be tailoring a new program. That's one of those programs that I can tell you we're bringing on next month. But Phoenix Rescue Mission will be helping us with that program as well. And that specifically targets populations, and a lot of them that are veterans, that will actually be able to work and get paid a daily wage to work in our program here in Scottsdale, just like the one in Glendale. So I'm going to let Jasani please take over and talk about the various great things that she and her organization does. So Jasani, thank you, welcome, and please take it away.
Hi everyone, can you all hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, great. So once again, my name is Jasani Goodman, and I am our Director of Community Engagement with the Phoenix Rescue Mission. And thank you so much for having me join you guys tonight and be able to share a little bit about Phoenix Rescue Mission and what we do as a whole, and how we will come alongside Scottsdale to serve Scottsdale, and more in particularly serve those individuals who are veterans among the homeless population in Scottsdale. So we're a leading provider of Christ-centered, life-transforming solutions to people who are facing hunger, homelessness, addiction, and trauma. Some of the services that we offer in the city of Scottsdale is just a small portion of what we do as an organization as a whole. I'll start off with our outreach efforts, and then I'll kind of explain a little bit of some other things that we do as an organization that veterans can also tap into. So Mike actually gave a really great overview of our outreach and navigation. I don't have too much to add to that because he gave a really thorough explanation of it. But basically, just like Mike was saying, we like to be able to encounter individuals where they are experiencing homelessness. And that's exactly what outreach and navigation does. And the navigation piece of it is actually carrying that person and helping them navigate through the complex and various systems that are out there, or organizations or services that are out there, because often just because it exists doesn't mean that people know how to utilize it or how to tap into it. And so we take pride in being able to walk people through that process, to not just give information and referrals, but actually ensure that the person is connected to these services successfully. Another thing that we take pride in is the fact that we understand that, a lot of the individuals who are experiencing homelessness all across the valley are resistant to services. They might not be interested in receiving services, but that doesn't deter us. We believe in progressive engagement. We believe in continuously talking with people, building rapport, building relationship. That is the secret sauce, if I could say, of what it is that we do, which is really spending time with people, earning the right to be heard, earning the right for them to trust us into leading them into services that are going to be life transforming for them, and in placing them into permanent housing or residential services that are going to make all the difference in their life. And like Mike was saying, tapping into the systems of coordinated entry and being able to tap into the systems of the various services that are available. And in particularly when it comes to veterans, we have a small but mighty team. We are soon to be a team of 9 case managers. And one of those case managers works throughout the entire valley, and he is a veteran himself. And he specifically tends to work with veterans. So if there's a veteran that anyone on our team encounters in any city, and they are interested in specifically getting connected to veteran services that could help them with housing or medical or mental health, temporary shelter, documentation that is needed in order for them to be able to obtain housing, just various services. This veteran case manager is actually able to connect them to those services with what is called the CRRC, the Community Resource and Referral Center. It is not located in Scottsdale, but it is the central hub of where a lot of veteran homeless services are offered. And so we like to be able to connect people to that specialty, to the people who know the ins and outs of veteran affairs and their benefits, in order to truly connect people to the potential that it lies there. I once heard that, here in Arizona, if there's a homeless veteran, they get everything in the kitchen sink thrown at them when it comes to services. There is an abundance of services for veterans. It's just about building that relationship and building that rapport that gets them to be interested in those services, because a lot of people are actually resistant for an array of different reasons. It could be, due to addiction. It could be due to mental health issues, just a various issues that somebody could be facing, any underlying situations that would cause them to be resistant. And then some of the other things that we do under our outreach efforts is like Greg was talking about, our Will Work program. So providing day labor opportunities to individuals who are experiencing homelessness. And so what that looks like could vary from city to city, but in the city that we have it existing at the moment, we basically allow them to come out and do work with us, and they work with us for a 5-hour shift. They get paid $60 for their 5 hours, and the thing is that they just not only come and get a small paycheck, but throughout that entire process, we're building rapport and we're offering services. And then we're connecting them to those services through case management. So the whole thing is, yeah, we want to entice you to come in and make a little bit of money, but the whole thing is that we want to connect you to services. And one of the amazing things about the Will Work program is that a little dignity of earning your wage goes a long way. And by having people have that dignity restored of being able to earn their own wage for that day, really sparks a change in that person. And throughout time, or rather quickly for some individuals, they'll ask, hey, you know what? This felt really good to have a job. I'd actually like to see if maybe I can get a job, or I can get a house, or I can move into shelter, or I can get services for this or for that. And so it really sparks a conversation for change. Another thing that we do is our criminal justice diversion, and we help veterans through that as well as in the Will Work program. Veterans can all access these services. The criminal justice diversion program just works in the courts, and we work to divert individuals facing prosecution or facing to do time in jail. And instead of having them go, and serve some time in a county jail, how can we help this person get connected to services? How can we help this person, instead of them going to jail, go to a recovery program or go receive mental health services, or whatever the need is, whatever is the underlying issue as to why they are reoffending. And so that's basically our street outreach efforts in a nutshell. And I kind of want to go into our residential program services a little bit, because that is a place that veterans can tap into. And that is recovery services, residential recovery services. So we serve men and we serve women, and women with children. And so basically, if anybody is dealing with what we call a life controlling problem, anything that they might be experiencing, whether it be trauma, addiction, whatever it is, homelessness, that they need a place to recover. They need a place to come and transform their life. These residential campuses are 100% free. We do not charge your insurance. We don't require anything of the client besides a willingness to see transformation in their life. They get a free bed, 3 free meals a day. They get 20 hours of classes in recovery, counseling, work with a recovery coach, just get all the tools that they need in order to be able to learn how to enter into the real world with these issues that they might be dealing with. And it's a really great opportunity for people to really come and restore their life. And at the women's campus, we work with reunification. So how can we reunify families that they have been separated from their children due to substance abuse issue? How can we work to mend that family? So work on the individual and then mend the family thereafter. And so and then the last piece of that is, how do we come alongside those individuals who finish our program? How can we further support them? And that also leads me back to our outreach and navigation. We don't only just house people, but we believe in healthy housing for healthy individuals. So how can we help that individual even after they get their housing remain in their housing? And one of the greatest privileges that we have is that after we house people, people still call us and ask us for assistance with other things, whether it be a food box, whether it be their benefits for Medicare or whatever it might be. Maybe they're facing the eviction, or they can't pay their utilities. Just the fact that we get to come around those people that we've permanently housed to further engage them with services is something that we take pride in. And all of these services are offered to veterans, every single one of them. A veteran who is requiring assistance is definitely someone who can be served by all of these programs. And we really look forward to working in the city of Scottsdale more, and further serving the veterans in your city as well.
Thank you very much, Jusani. I would just say, do we have any questions? We certainly will do our best.
Kelly, you got my hand up, so I'll just jump in here. This is Chairman Palmer. Hey, I know we're pushed for time here, and people want to go see the debate. So first of all, Jusani, Greg and Mike, really appreciate the information. Actually, you've given us a lot, but to be honest, I got enough questions to take us through the rest of the hour. So I wanted to propose that we collect up the questions and pass to you so you can review what we're asking, because we're going to be a little more veteran centric on our questions as we go through that piece.
Sure.
But also, if you could also, as you put it together, give us a list of all the programs and maybe a link to where we can find out more information on them, just so we have them. And
okay.
The key is we have other agenda items we've got to get to, and again, this could take the rest of the time. So if there's no objections with anyone else, we'll move on to the next agenda, but we'll be getting you questions if that's okay, Greg.
Chair Palmer, members of the commission, thank you very much. We will be very happy to answer those questions and provide the links that you've also asked for. And so we just appreciate your time very much. And Kelly, thank you for the invitation.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Greg and Mike and Jusani. Very much appreciated. And yeah, I'll work to get any questions that the commission has to you, Greg, and then we can work together on getting information back to the commission.
Very good,
Yeah,
sir. Everyone, do take care.
And this is Chair
Thank
Palmer
you.
again. If Greg, if maybe plan on, and I'll work with Kelly on agenda, but maybe have you come back next week in case we got follow-ups to the questions.
I'd be happy to do that. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Any objections for us moving on to the next agenda item?
Sounds good to me, Pete.
Okay.
I do see a hand raised from Commissioner Stemple. Maybe we can try this again. Joel, are you there?
I'm here.
Hey, there you are. I
Hey.
hear you.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened, but I was listening on my phone. I decided to call in then. Sorry about being late.
Well, thank you for persevering, and I'm glad your microphone is working now.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, next on the agenda is an update and discussion on the communications plans activities to date. And Kelly, I think that's yours.
That is mine. Thank you, Chair Palmer. And I'll be expedient about this and the next item. The two key elements of the communications plan were the website, expanding the pages on the website. And as we discussed at the last meeting, and I got good feedback, I do have an outline of those pages, and I'm working with the IT department to build those out. Due to some other priorities, in fact, one of them is the number of Zoom meetings that our IT experts are now helping us host. But Brian Hancock, who helps us with this meeting, will be the individual that I'm working with to build those pages out on our website, and we're actually meeting on that project here in the next day or two. And so I expect in not too much longer, we'll have those pages built out, and we'll be able to start promoting that resource to the community. And then the other thing is the other key element of the program is the video discussion program that we've been discussing. That's something that's on a bit of a hold due to other priorities, and also my personal desire to have that be an in-person discussion program as opposed to something that we would do via Zoom. And so at this point, we're not ready to get that started yet. But what I am doing is taking suggestions for guests and topics that you all think we could or should discuss in that kind of a program. And so if any individual commissioners have suggestions for that, if you want to send those along to me, we'll be working on those. That's a program that I'm hopeful that if the COVID numbers keep trending in the direction that we'd like, we'll be able to bring folks into our video studio and host those discussion shows toward the end of this year or early next year. If it doesn't look like that'll be possible, then we can revisit the idea of doing it using Zoom or some other piece of remote technology. So those are my my updates on our communications plan activities. The big one will be the expanded section of the website, and I'm confident we'll be able to get that up and running here before too much longer, given the fact that we do have to juggle it amongst some competing priorities. So that's my update on the communications plan, Chair Palmer. I do not see any hands raised at this point.
Okay, next on the agenda is an update on the city's plans to commemorate the Veterans Day ceremony.
Thank you very much, Chair Palmer and members of the commission. The plans to commemorate Veterans Day in a virtual sense that I described at the last meeting are moving forward. And I do have some news related to the performance by the Scottsdale Fire Pipes and Drums. I'm zeroing in on a date for that. We are looking at the Scottsdale Airport, specifically the Thunderbird II Veterans Memorial location. I'm I'm trying to firm up one or two more things, but I expect before the end of this week, I'll have some information that I can share. And I will send that to all of the commissioners via email so that you have that. We are also moving forward with attempting to arrange some other video interviews that we would release as part of Veterans Day. That haven't been able to nail those down yet. One that I know is in production is a specific presentation from Joan Fodala, who presented to the commission last year. And she's developed a presentation on the Scottsdale's World War II veterans. And she's going to be putting that together. And that's something that we'll be happy to host as part of our Veterans Day commemoration. And the other great thing that I'm very encouraged by is we have put the word out to the community to send us photos of veterans in Scottsdale so that we can honor them on Veterans Day. And so far we have more than 40 that have been submitted to us. And we're excited about putting those together into a small video. I sent the commission the information on that. I hope the members of the commission take advantage of that as well. And I'll send you the link for doing that also. So the Veterans Day commemoration is coming together, and I'll have some more details to share with you here. I'm hoping by the end of this week. And I see a hand raised from Commissioner Regal.
Kelly, we sent that out in a blast to all the Legion folks, so I'm hoping that helps you get some more.
I very much appreciate that, and I suspect that those sorts of shares are probably part of the reason we have such a good response so far. Vice Chair Polk.
I just wanted to back up what Commissioner Regal said. I also have shared that with a number of local veterans that I know, and just seems to be a good response. People are excited about seeing that. I know that I was, so thanks to the city for putting that together. I think that's going to be something that will be treasured and looked at in the years to come. So thank you.
Thank you.
Would you send that link out again, Kelly?
Yes, I will. I'll share that with all of you, and we'll be collecting those for another week or two before wrapping them all up and putting together something that we can share on Veterans Day. Commissioner Regal, is your hand still up, or is it up again? Thank you. And that's all I had on the Veterans Day commemoration plans, Chair Palmer.
Okay, and sorry, I'm going to move us along quickly. So if anybody else has any other follow-ups, raise your hand and we can jump it in. Next on the agenda, and this is, it's coming time where it's due for us to do our annual report. And Kelly, you were going to give us a little update, and then I was going to throw a concept out to the commission and see best way to approach this.
Thank you, Chair Palmer. I can do a screen share if folks would like to look. I'll just say that it really, depending on the commission, most of our boards and commissions do a very brief pro forma kind of report that simply lists the meeting dates, any major actions taken. We do have some commissions that do a more of a traditional annual report with a lot of explanation and description of activities conducted. It really kind of depends on the commission. I think this year, given the limited things that we've been able to do due to COVID, I would lean more towards a more brief report. But I can, if you'd like, Chair Palmer, I can screen share to show a couple of those. Or if you'd rather, you could take it over and mention the direction that you'd like to take it.
Well, you're free to show them, but I was going to propose to the panel that one, we've got our work plan. My thought is we just address what we've attacked in our work plan and provide that information, which will include like who's briefed us, the fire department, and so on, veteran pieces. We got a lot in work plans that we didn't get to because of COVID. Excuse me, I got a cough going. So I was going to propose.
It's not the COVID, is it?
No, it's a persistent one I got from, and they haven't figured it out. So
Yeah, check your temperature.
yeah, it's been going for 2 years. So yeah, it's not COVID. The, what I would propose, if everybody's amiable to it, is take a look at what we've put in as the work plan. And then based on what you have done or what you think we've done, go ahead and just fill in the work plan. Here's what we did under that task or whatever as you think about it. I'll take care of the, where we did the veteran, I'm brain dead for the word now, but all the veterans in the area, all the data on the veterans in the area will obviously cover a lot on the homeless piece that we're addressing. But if anybody else has got something we might have missed, I was just going to say, put that on the work plan, get it over to me, and I'll consolidate it and try to have something back out to us next month to review, if that works for everybody.
That sounds good. For those of us that don't have the work plan, we can pull that down off the city website, right, Kelly?
It might take you a little bit to find it on the right agenda. So why don't I go ahead and share that? I'll share that with everybody along with some of the other information that we've talked about. And I think I can get all that together and get it out to you all tomorrow in an email.
Perfect. Thank you.
And Kelly, do you have the one? Remember 2 meetings ago, we adjusted it slightly, but that's, I just send out the work plan. I think that'll be fine. We really didn't take anything off the plate.
I believe I do have the one that's reflects adjustments.
Okay. Are there any other comments or questions?
I don't see any other hands raised.
Okay. Let's see. Next on the agenda is updates and suggestions for future agenda items. Obviously, I've highlighted next agenda item. I think we get a follow-up from the questions that we submit. Additionally, we had a discussion on the report. And like I said, I will try to have everybody a draft report before we meet again. And I think we're meeting on for November, so we'll be meeting on voting day. So that'll be interesting.
Day
and
after.
I guess I should ask, is that a good day to meet?
The day after. I'll be counting votes.
Okay. So the day after.
Are you really going to vote on the 4th?
No, I'm already done. Or I will be done. Excuse me, 3rd.
That must be one of those new open line voting things they're talking about.
Yeah, no. It's Wednesday 4th. Sorry, I meant the 3rd. I think we're good on the 3rd. So, or the 4th, excuse me. You got me all confused. Anything else that you suggest for future agenda?
Chair Palmer, I don't see any hands raised. And of course,
Okay.
Individual commissioners could always send suggestions to you or to me if they think of them after the meeting.
Okay, if there is no other questions or discussion, I'll entertain a motion for from the commission to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
We got a moved and seconded. Did you pick up who that was, Kelly? So
It sounded like it was moved by Commissioner Regal and seconded by Commissioner Zymek.
Okay, I think you got to go down and do a roll call, or can we just say any opposed? If we get no nay answers, we'll assume an aye.
I think that would work, Chair Palmer.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Thanks for your work today. And if you get the questions in and get me the feedback, we'll try to get it done. But well, I will get it done something for us, so we'll be ready to submit. Take care and keep safe, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Good to hear your voices.
Bye-bye.